Hey guys! So we are on day 5 and we are now coming up on NASA. Last night was another amazing night. We had wonderful dinner with some friends that we made on the ship, and then we went out to do the CE5 on deck. I saw a shooting light orb and something that could have been a shooting star. So not going to call that anything, but it was pretty awesome and excited for today. We're going to go swim with piggies. It's amazing. What are we going to do now?
Swim with piggies!
Swim with the piggies.
Yay!
We will get some footage for you. Catch you soon. She's already trying.
I'm gonna swim with piggies!
Oh boy. I'm in for a wild one.
Hi! Hi, buddy! What you want? Oh, wait, let me get you some. Let me get you some. On the side. Yeah! Woo!
Hey, bud. Done. Give it here. There you go. Up. Hey, buddy. Nobody wants my apple. Here you are. Hey, buddy. There you go. All right, so we fed the piggies. How do you feel?
I'm so happy!
She's crying. She's so happy.
Good also?
Hi, piggies!
Okay. We're just hanging out before we take off to go back to Fort Lauderdale, leaving beautiful Bahamas. What is that down there, Sha? Stingray! Here is our last night for dinner. We're gonna miss this cruise. We had a great time. It's not over yet. Not yet. But we're gonna have some grub-a-dub-dub. Yummy!
What you really want to do is use a meditative technique as a way of becoming very relaxed and calm and going into that quiet mind where you can reach into that expanded aspect of consciousness. And that's really, there's the art to that, and you just practice it. And over time, it becomes easier and easier to just observe. It's like you become the observer of your perceptions, your thoughts, whatever it is, but you're really looking at the conscious mind that's observing the thoughts, or observing your feelings, or the wind, or whatever it is, noise. I can sit in a very noisy place and meditate and connect. So what you want to be able to do eventually is sort of always return to that state of reflecting on the mind. Now, it helps when it's quiet and conditions are perfect. They don't need to be. You can develop that. And most people make it way too hard and way too complicated. It's actually very simple. But just channel one, what your perceptions are hearing and seeing, but you're really perceiving with your mind, the consciousness. That's what you want to connect to. This is so much part of who we are that it's been likened to your life's vein, your jugular vein. It's so close to you, you don't even take the bit. So being able to reflect and observe the mind quietly is really about knowing that you can, and it's always there, and then letting go of all the other objects of perception, whether it be feelings or thoughts, perceptions, physical sensations, noises, all of that. You just sort of understand that the only reason you can perceive all of that is that you're conscious, right? You're awake. And so you want to connect to that faculty, that ability to be conscious. That's really all it is. And so you have to transcend and go beyond even just the unity of humans in humanism, to where you then attain this other state of understanding. But then what is our point of commonality, right? What is that point where we connect? It's this aspect of ourselves that's awake and conscious. That's why I say when you see an ET in remote view, or if one were to appear, they may be very different looking, and your fight or flight response as a human would be, oh my God. But center yourself and be meditative with your eyes open. Look into the eyes of that being and see that there is the light of consciousness, right? And that light of consciousness, it is identical to how you're awake. They may have different IQs, they may have different knowledge, they may have different personalities, cultures, histories, biological. Some have exoskeletons, some have endoskeletons, et cetera, and so on. So what? See, this is the real beauty of understanding the unifying effect of non-locality in consciousness, the conscious field that is omnipresent, that's been proven scientifically to be the case. And that's really the foundation of our social evolution going forward. So a civilization, once it hits a level 1, 2, 3, that's very well established. So that even if people are different ethnicities and religions, they may say, well, there's all this variety, but deeper, more transcendent, more profound than all those differences is this unifying aspect of spirit, consciousness, mind. That understanding becomes preeminent. And when that becomes preeminent, all the differences are not causing conflict. They're just points of fun or diversity or what have you. And at some point, probably a lot of those over hundreds of years probably fade away or become much more in sync with each other in just normal evolution. I'm not saying homogenized, and there are no differences, but very much in sync, but to the point where there's no point in, going and blowing someone up because one's of one religion or race or economic system or belief and then the other. And that's the real problem, is that humans have that proclivity that exists since time immemorial, but our weapons are no longer bows and arrows and rocks and axes. They're thermonuclear weapons, and the classified ones are beyond that, scalar and transdimensional and quantum potential weapons. So any civilization reaches our point of technology, it's no longer a luxury. And this is why I say, when you boil it all down, the crisis is actually deeply spiritual. I say spiritual, I mean universally so, not religion per se. And the solution is going to be deeply spiritual on this deep level. Does that make sense? Here's the trick. This is part of the CE5 protocol. Connect to it, feel it with your heart, and see it with your mind. Ask it to do something a satellite cannot do. Often we've done that and say, oh, it's a satellite, and blah, blah, blah. And someone does that, it stops, backs up, and goes, whoop, right? Ain't a satellite, right? Because the ET vehicles are integrated into consciousness and thought and all their guidance and navigation systems. That's the key thing to understand about what we're doing with CE5. It's very scientific, actually, even though it's on the edge of what conventional science would want to accept. But that is something you can do. So anything you see, ask whatever that object is, if you're not clear what it is, to do something that a conventional craft absolutely can't do. And that's why you have to have your mind refined in this remote view, but also your heart. What does it feel? And the feeling combined with the mind seeing is really the most powerful technique. The heart of love and feeling combined with the clarity of consciousness and vision. So there is this resonance, let's call it, you can create between your conscious mind and your heart and feeling. And the most accurate intuition, the most accurate way of knowing knowledge is the synchronization, syncing up of feeling and mind, heart and vision. All of which is beyond intellectualizations. But now, to understand this, there's a knowledge. But I always point out, data and information isn't knowledge, and knowledge isn't wisdom. This is a progression. So we want to have the information, sharing the knowledge, then you want to have the wisdom that comes with the experience of practicing it. and that is how you are guided. So let us dedicate this puja to the unity and the peace of life on earth and throughout the cosmos as we enter into the time of universal peace. Apavitra pavitrova sarva vastangatopiva yasmarek pundarikaksham sabaya bhyantara sushi avahanam narayanam padma bhavam vashistam shaktim shatatputra paracharamcha vyasam shukam gaura param mahantam govinda yogindra matasya shisham Sri Shankaracharya Matasya Padma Padam Cha Hastam Alakam Cha Shisham Tam Trotikam Vartika Karumanyan Asmad Gurun Santa Tamana Tosmi Shruti Smrti Purnanam Alayam Karun Alayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhasha Krito Vande Bhagavanto Puna Puna Yadvare Nikhilana Papirisha Siddhim Viratenisham Srimachrila Sitam Jagad Guru Padam Natvatma Triptim Gata Loka Gayan Payot Patandaram Shri Shankaram Sharamadam Brahmanadam Sarvatim Guru Varam Dhyayami Joitir Mayam Avahanam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Asanam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Snanam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Vastram Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Chandanam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Ashkatan Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Pushpam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Dupam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Deepam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Akshmaniyam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Naivejam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Akshmaniyam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Tambulam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Shri Palam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Arartikyam Karpurakaram Karunavataram Samsarasaram Mujagendraharam Vasaravasantam Hridayara Vinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Arartikyam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Akshmaniyam Samarpami Shri Guru Charan Kamalepyo Namah. Pushpanjalim Guru Brahma Guru Vishnur Guru Devo Maheshvara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Akanda Mandala Karam Vyattam Yeno Characharam Tatparam Darshitam Yeno Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Brahmanadam Param Sukaram Kevalam Gyan Murtim Vishvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamantasya Laksham Ekam Nipilam Vimala Machalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguna Sahitam Sadgunam Tam Namami Agyan Timarandasya Gyananjan Shalakaya Shaksunamuitom Yeno Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Pushpanjalim Samarpami Shri Gurucharan Kamalebhyo Nama. Now let us be silent in deep meditation together. You may have a seat. So now, let us come together in this vision as we invite these people from the stars, brothers and sisters, to join us in this prayer and meditation for the transformation of the earth and humanity into its destiny as a world of peace and enlightenment and beauty. And so we see these civilizations, many of whom have observed the earth for millions of years, joining us, whether they are seen or unseen, in this great progression where humanity attains its maturity and its destiny of peace, living together as one on the earth. And we ask the Great Spirit, through us, our actions, our thought, our hearts, all of us, human and extraterrestrial, to see the earth with the eye of kindness and forgiveness, and that we be guided to the path of service and what our true purpose is on the earth at this pivotal time of its transformation from a world of division to the rose garden of peace. And so we ask the Great Spirit to protect and guide us, and that we are now prepared for a time of the great changes. And in that time, we may, in fact, assist overtly the people from the stars in that transition. And we ask then the Great Spirit to show each of us our path and purpose, to protect those who are now at great risk on behalf of this mission, and that each of us be guided in right action and speech and thought as we come together to move as one in the creation of a new world. And so we see from the depths of space and from the cosmic mind within us a beautiful light emanating from the zenith of the heavens and suffusing the earth in a cosmic light of enlightenment and love and peace. And in like fashion, we send throughout the earth and the cosmos this vision of all of us living together as one. And so into the future not far from now, we see a time where all the wars have been stilled and the wondrous sciences and technologies that have been extant for 100 years are revealed and put to the use of the benefit of humanity and the healing of the earth. And we behold that within a generation, the earth is made new again, and humanity has justice and peace, and all poverty and want is banished and becomes a faint memory. And on this foundation of peace, humanity turns to the pursuit of higher states of consciousness, of enlightenment, a true world of peace. And as we do, we see that the cosmos opens its arms wide to embrace humanity and the earth. And we see the earth as one of the great jewels in the diadem of creation, and humanity fulfilling its potential and the beauty that is within us. And so in this way, wherever on earth there is conflict, we see emanating from this high consciousness in our hearts peace and the vision of a new world. And wherever there is hatred, we see brotherhood and love. And wherever there is division, we see this impulse, this sense of divine oneness and unity dawning in the hearts and the minds of all humans. And wheresoever there is great power that is aggregated and is abused, we see those who wield that power, their hardened hearts softened, and a new vision dawning within them. And this vision must guide the world. And so they engage in right action and turn away from the present course. And the world is transformed very quickly. And thus, we see those people of great courage with whom we are working and whose lives are at risk, put within the grace and the protection of the divine being, and to be guided in their actions. And that our leaders in every walk of life receive this knowledge and this vision of a new world that is at hand, that is imminent, and that is determined to be born. And so we ask the Great Spirit to forgive us and to forgive those who wield such power and abuse it, as we forgive one another. And we turn away from bitterness and we embrace forgiveness and love. And in such wise, the world is healed and a new world is made. There was a story of what happened back in, I believe it was 1956 at White Sands, the same place where I had that vision of being in the future when I was in 1978, of there being this open and peaceful contact, being supported and protected by the government and the military. And with what I see happening that I can't talk about much, that's building as a true reality that if things work out well, that'll be the case. But one time there was a radar they had in a system that had this sort of both a radar, a passive and an active system that had electromagnetic weapons in them. Those have been around. Remember, Tesla wrote about scalar systems, I believe 20s, 30s. He died in 43. So that's how Roswell happened. They don't just come from another star system and can't navigate a thunderstorm in New Mexico, right? Justice flies an Airbus 321 and can do that. So that's a myth that you hear in the UFO community, but it was actually a strike. There's an FBI document that is a memo from a field officer to J. Edgar Hoover talking about it that we have. Once we released it, it was the most viewed document on the FBI website. And it's this agent telling J. Edgar Hoover that we had some kind of new, quote, radar system that got switched on that caused those objects to hit each other and go out of control and crash that they weren't expecting. And now radar is often used as a euphemism for something embedded in a radar dome system that is also a active weapon, electromagnetic weapon system. So those were operational in 47. They're certainly operational and better in 56. So this was going on around where there were a lot of ET craft concerned about our nuclear weapons, and at that point we'd hit the hydrogen bomb, a thermonuclear weapon instead of just atomic bomb, which is 100 times more deadly. And so there was a craft that came down over the range and went out and landed out in the White Sands range at some distance. And so Colonel Corso got in his Jeep and roared out there. And when he got there, the craft, it was a disc, seamless, metallic, broad daylight, and it was solid, and then it would shift and it would dematerialize without moving off. And all you would see was a sort of like a heat, you know how a heat wave in the desert, a mirage, and then it would come back. And finally, it stayed, and an ET appeared outside of it. And of course, Corso was a brash, Air Force colonel, and goes, "Who goes there, friend or foe?" And the ET said, "To you, neither." And because they were targeting, trying to knock them down, and the ET communicated. They often will have a little device, like a little black or object, that is an augmentation for telepathy back and forth. Those systems, so they're ET systems, but we've reverse engineered them. At any rate, so the ET said, we'd like for you to stop doing this thing with your radar that's causing these problems, because there had been a crash at White Sands in 45, by the way, that my friend Paula Harris documented in her book. What was the name of that book? Trinity? Trinity. And so Corso goes, "What's in it for me?" Right? And the ET says, "A new world if you can take it." You see? So I was 1 year old in 1956. So literally a new world if you can take it. So what the ET was saying, if you can take it, means you have to accept that, but you have to stop this madness of what you're doing, right? And that's what neither the Truman nor that time in the Eisenhower administration, none of those people wanted to give up those toys, the big nukes and stuff. And so here we are today in 2025. But so I always tell people it's a new world. It can be born anytime we want to collectively as a people accept it, take it. And that's really something to think about. So what you'll find is that if they can't come in 3D in a safe way, they'll do other things that are completely synced up with what you're thinking, talking about what the group is doing. It's so intimate and interactive. It's enigmatic in many ways. The book we wrote, Extraterrestrial Contact, Countdown to Transformation, has hundreds and hundreds of accounts of the way these events have happened. It's important to read that because it gives you a sense of all the different ways ETs can create a contact event. And most people are looking, again, they're thinking, a Hollywood movie. But these civilizations, and they're funny, they have a great sense of humor. enigmatic. They do things with nature, with all kinds of phenomenon in ways that are, but see, you have to be nuanced about it, because you're right, everyone's wanting something to land. You go kick the tires and say, how you doing? Let's have a bagel and lox, and I'd like to have a latte with it. No, come on. But they'll let you know you're on the right path and that they're with you, right, in consciousness and what you're doing through all kinds of, in a way, it's even more beautiful. And also for a lot of people, if they had a full on with a physical one, they might be really scared, because what if they look very unusual? And people, easily frightened like cattle. And I think often they'll do things to let you know they're there and sort of acclimate you in a sense, right? So you have to be open to all kinds of unusual phenomena that happen. But what's fun is that when you do this and you're with your team back wherever you live, be creative about it, but also have your mind, your senses open to it. Don't be so fixed about how they're going to make contact, right? You invite them, and then they say, well, we'll see how it happens, because they're monitoring all the conditions, your state of readiness, what's going on in the environment, is it safe in terms of 3D? And if it is, they can do 3D. And that's something that has to do with a number of factors. Not only is it safe, but is the person ready for that? Because everyone says they are until it happens, and then there are brown streaks in their shorts. You have to examine what you're ready for. They're going to sense it, but if you are not ready, then it's going to terminate as soon as you get into the fear factor, right? And the getting concerned. So always invite them to appear any way you're ready and they're ready, as long as it's safe. And but know that when you make that connection, they're going to let you know. So if you're ready and you're pure in your intention, all kinds of extraordinary things will happen, including in your house and in your room and in dream time, but literally physically. So I think you have to be, very clear about, what your point of readiness is. So there's another one. There are two, one here and one there. Yeah. So are there satellites in that area? I mean, those are not airplanes, by the way. I got my military grade night scopes on them. Yeah, it's out over the ocean out there. Can't hear you. Now there is one object, a couple came and vanished, and there's one with the night scope I can still see. Oh, it just went out into space. It turned out, and then went out that as easily as we see with our eyes. We can also see with our mind, not only space, time, matter, but also into the worlds of light. And we can see that these civilizations, by virtue of being interstellar, are also trans-dimensional. And so they are around us in ships of light, astral energy. And just as our own bodies of light can fly in a lucid dream or in an astral projection, their entire craft and everyone on board can shift back and forth from that state into matter. So now let us see with that inner sight what is around us here, around the deck, and in the sky around us, beyond the crossing point of light, the frequency of light and matter and electrons. When you cross into the vision, you will see clearly who they are. And you can ask them to show you their worlds. And as you see them, and you get a sense of the people, Introduce yourself by name and where you live and what your intentions are. And if you have sincere intentions to be an ambassador of contact and communication between humans and their people, let them know that. For in the passage of time, such events will transpire that those who understand what we are teaching will be the points of contact between your societies, your communities, and these extraterrestrial people. And thus, that is so important that you accept that task if you are willing. And so you must view yourselves as ambassadors to the universe, and that we are all one people, and in spirit, we are a one. And so as we put ourselves into that service, every door will open, and the path will be made clear. And whatsoever we ask to have happen in that pure state, in deep consciousness, will, in the passage of time, manifest. Also remember that those who have gone before us into the worlds of light, that they may assist us, and they may also communicate with the ETs and us together. And so those we know who have ascended and left the physical form and their bodies and are in the worlds of light, they can also communicate with us and the ETs in ways that may be mysterious, but will be clear as the time moves forward. And so we see with the eye of oneness all life, both material and astral and spiritual, as one conscious living being, of which we are both a part, but deep within we are also the whole. And so when we acknowledge that aspect of our true selves with faith and with confidence and humility, all things are possible. Let us meditate on that and explore within the realm of conscious thought and the realms of light. And ask for them to send you and show you in your mind's eye their world and their people and their purpose. And you can all then ask the Great Spirit to show you yours. The Special Forces team and the law enforcement team and task force that is working to bring justice and to lay the foundation for a new relationship between humans and our governments and the ETs. And you see them in the light of protection and guidance. and ask that they be under the sheltering branch of divine providence as they do this work, which is extremely dangerous, with me. And see that we will make it through this task so that the organization running these projects that are so damaging to the world are stopped from their programs and transformed and moved into something productive for humanity, and that this is what must happen in order for our civilization to go forward. And so let us put them in prayer and protection, all of us together, and blessing. They are sweet and wonderful people, and they have accepted this role knowing that they very likely could be killed. And they have accepted that mission voluntarily, as I have. And so I ask for you to keep them and all of us in your thoughts and your prayers as we go forward. And also that we be guided, and that every door open that must open at this time. And so I hope you will continue that work on behalf of humanity and the ETs and the people from the stars to create a new world, for his time has come. So God bless you all. Thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Well, we made it back to Fort Lauderdale. We had a great trip. Last night I saw about 30 different things in the sky. Shannon fell asleep. I fell asleep. But it was amazing. What a wonderful trip. CE5 contact success. Catch you later.